Alright guys, so we're going to have the Clee G Rocket League Season 2 announcement right now. We're going to go over a few policy changes, some new team updates, and just review some of the stuff that's happened from Season 1 going into Season 2 now. The first thing I want to do is I do have some guests here with me. I have all three of our franchise owners, technically four. There is two for one of our franchises specifically. We'll get to that in a minute. The first franchise owner up is going to be Halton Lava.
What's going on, everybody?
He is the owner and organizer for the Lords Esports. His Rocket League team is just the Lords. They are a first season team. They were not here for season 1. It's going to be their first season in the league. Their captain is DieEpic. He's so far been pretty resourceful and helpful in recruiting for the whole league as a whole. So hope to see some good things from this team. Our other franchise is going to be Eco Gaming. It is currently run by Danger Ranger and Sky Decay. Little fact about them, they're actually brothers. It's been interesting. They're a season 1 team as well, so they're completely new here. But their team they took over is technically been here from the start. Their captain was here from the start. So we look to hear and see some great things from them. You have anything to say, Danger Ranger, Sky Decay?
What's up, everybody?
Yourself?
What's up, everybody? I'm Danger Ranger. Been gaming for a while. Been interested in turning it into more than just leisurely activity for a while longer, actually. But that's all I got to say.
And what about you, Sky Decay? And so, do you guys have any way that you break down how your organization is run? You are very unique in the fact that you guys are the only franchise with 2 owners.
We just do our best to make sure everything's 50-50.
Alright, that's good to hear. Our next franchise up is going to be Onslaught Gaming. They are already a pretty well established organization as it is. Their team in our league is actually also called Onslaught Gaming. The captain for that team is DK Bedfast Trout, and the owner for this team and the manager is DK Silk. If you guys would give your attention to him.
What's up? That's all I got is what's up.
Alright, so I quickly just wanted to go over all the team names and captains. We have Valeris, that's a returning team, still going to be captained by Prodigal Trip. We have RGB, which is the team that is franchised by Eco Gaming. They are captained by Ronska. He took over about midway through. Hope to see some great things from this team. They just lost in a Cleety Cup finals to one of our other teams that's returning. Hopefully we can see them get it back there, maybe get a title again this upcoming season, but we'll see. They actually lost to Full Senders, which is our next team here. Their captain is Slim. These guys are the reigning Cleety Cup champs. Their return, they're back to win again. We're going to see how well this team turns out. Definitely entertaining to watch them play. That's going to take us over to Onslaught Gaming. Another technical Season 2 team. They've been here for a full season. They did make a decent run in the playoffs. Their captain is going to be DK Silk. He was there partially for some of last season, but not the full season. Or he wasn't captaining for the full season. He took over about halfway on. He's done a great job with the team. I hope to see them make a much farther run this season. Next up is going to be Trachenberg. I hope I said that right. Trachenberg was not fast, just furious from last season, so they are another Season 2 team. They're captained by Forget Jake still. They did make a small playoff run, I believe. They were the ones that beat Onslaught Gaming in the playoffs. That was a decent game for them. They didn't ultimately end up pulling off the next round win. Hopefully we get to see some much more entertaining play from them this season around. Maybe they go for a major title run. That'll bring us to the Lords. Brand new team to the league. Brand new captain, brand new org, all here. It's going to be very interesting to see this fresh new feel that this org's trying to bring in. The team's name is the Lords. The franchise name is the Lords Esports, and the captain is Die Epic. We're gonna look to see what kind of noise they can make, if any. Hopefully they get a decent playoff run. Maybe they get into the finals in their very first season. All right, that'll bring us to we hit those. This is a brand new team in the league as well. This is gonna be captained by the Joker. There's not much going on behind the scenes just yet. As far as I know, like, it's still very, very fresh. They're hoping to make a splash and definitely try to make a title run, as every team should be. It's going to be a very big uphill battle for some of these newer teams. I do have that to say. They do have the draft on their side, hopefully, but it's still going to be rough. And to round out all 8 of our teams, it's going to be Cryptic. It is captained by Dirty. He is also fairly new to the league. He wasn't here for the first season, so he's a new captain coming in. They are not franchised. I believe Dirty is a grand champ though, so hopefully that definitely helps build a strong foundation for his team. We'll see about that in the future. And this is going to take me over to player deals, guys. So I wanted to go over a few signings that happened, and then get some thoughts. So we had the first signing of the season was Liquid Ice, and he went to the Lords for 3 seasons, 1 point a season, which is very, very cheap and interesting. I think that set a very low bar and standard for high talent. I think personally he's still a risk player. I think you have to call the availability into check because he wasn't there for half of the games of the last season. It was a rocky last season, but he still did not show up for at least half of the games when there were other players that were there consistently. They also locked up Pez44. He was from the Dawn or RGB. They lost in the finals, unfortunately. He actually spent most of his time on the bench, had some really strong showcase games, and earned himself what looks to be a starting spot with the Lords. And that's gonna. He also signed for 3 seasons at 5 points, I believe. Is that right, Holton?
Yeah, it's gonna be 5 points this season.
Yeah, so it's gonna leave you with what, roughly 24 cap points.
I mean, counting the draft, we got
You're planning what? Trying to draft 3 players, 4 players?
3 players. Something.
Interesting. All right, so now we're gonna go over to Trachtenberg. That is captained by Forget Jake. They signed Harden the Paint and Forget Nick, re-signing Harden the Paint for 1 season at 4 points, which is roughly about where I think the standard for some of these players should be. 3 points being, a prospect. 4 to 5, I think would fit in well for a veteran player. They also re-signed Forget Nick at 2 seasons. 7 points and then 8 points the second season. That is extremely pricey. I think that's almost a third of your cap. I don't know what they're thinking there. Anybody have any input on that? That's a hefty price for a player. I mean, I guess if he can carry you into the finals or carry you close to the finals, you build a supporting cast around him.
I mean, also I think something that you're paying for there is leadership. I know pretty well in a sense. I played Apex with him a few times. Got to know him as a leader. He's very confident and knows his abilities, and he really integrated well with the team. So I think that's part of what they were paying for in that sense. But we can't forget that he and Jake are also friends.
Very, very true. And their salary cap availability right now is actually 19, and they still have to put 4 more players on the roster, so that's going to be rough. Or at least interesting. They're going to have to get a little creative, I think. So we're gonna go over to full senders. They locked up Jotaro, Young Bull, and Neko, all for 1 season at 7 points each. So right away, half of their roster went away with 21 points gone. How do you feel about that? I think personally that was the move.
I think it was a smart decision. I mean, they're sitting pretty at, 9 points left? That's enough to draft 3 players in the draft. So they're not really sort of spot right now, especially coming off a championship.
Very true, but they also have the last pick in each round. So the talent might not be what they're hoping for. I guess that's why you signed Young Bull for 7 points. He only played 1 game last season when he had to fill in. He played well. I believe he's a diamond player, so he's a solid player. He got what Forget Nick is getting, which is, I don't know, but I guess that's why you secure a good backup in case you need a fill. That's what they did, it seems. Leaving them, though, with 9 points. That is going to be very, very rough.
Really fast. To touch up on Young Bull for a second, that also just might be just accumulating capital, maybe moving up in the draft.
Possibly. I'm not too sure if they're going to try to shop him, but they might. And this is going to take us over to Valeris, which is one of the, I guess you would call them a sleeper underdog from last season. They are still captained by Prodigal Trip, and they did retain the majority of their roster. Siceman and all 3 of them actually returning on Siceman, Scott A's, and Firewielder, all returning on 1 season deals at 5 points each. So that's half of his cap gone to those 3 players. He still has enough cap to make a play in free agency if that's what he's looking to do. If not, I mean, he'll have cap left over to make some re-signings at the very least. I don't know. I think they have a decent draft pick, but I'd like to see a bigger signing somewhere, retaining the roster that I don't know. I don't think there's enough there. They lost their biggest player in RGB Shoddy. That's my big thing. Him becoming the #1 free agent, and
He could always go back.
he could still re-sign there. That is very, very true. We don't know, but currently right now the big thing that I would like to see from them is to get another solid big name player that can help lead this team. Firewielder maybe can step up into that leadership role, but I think somebody else has got to, he needs some supporting cast. And that's actually going to leave them with 15 cap. So it is they have room. They definitely have room to play. We'll see what they do with that. So RGB, captained by Ronska, this was the Dawn last season. Currently was only able to re-sign Bolt. I believe they're still waiting on returns for offers from Kuro and I believe one other player. I'm not 100% sure though. But they signed him for 1 season at 5 points. I think that was a steal. Bolt at 5 points. I think he's a very, very, very solid player. He should be your #2, maybe your #3 if your team's that good. But really, he's a very, very good #2 player. So I think that was a steal for 5 points. Any input on that?
I'm gonna have to agree with you. That also gives them enough cap to sign another free agent. We'll get that.
Yeah, for sure. Now we're gonna go over to Onslaught Gaming, which is gonna be interesting. We do have their franchise owner here, DK Bedfresh Trout, taking over first season full, first full season as a captain, hopefully. He did re-lock up Creamsicles and Mr. Awesome, both at 1 season and 4 points. It's going to leave you with 22 points, I think, to spend on the rest of the roster, which is pretty nice if you think about it.
Yeah, we're looking to really
very, very solid players.
We're looking to really upgrade, get really good backups for what we were missing last season, because not everybody can play every game, so you have to have solid backups in a draft like this.
Oh, I completely agree, and that definitely seemed to be a big issue that them, and not just them, but Trachtenberg struggled with last season was just player availability and scheduling, which is something we hope to see opening up that extra roster spot. Teams really take advantage of, and then them conserving, they can really go out and bid on any type of backup that they want if it comes down to it. Anybody that gets dropped that they think will be a good piece of this team, they'll have the cap to bid for them. Because what, 4 prospects is 12 points, and they have 22. That's 10 points left over.
That's true, and that's at least a starting.
Yeah, they could drop a prospect if they feel and go sign a big name player. They take maybe a 2-point cap hit, but that's still 8 points you can drop on a player. So I think it's a really, really good move.
I agree with that. Yes.
So now I have we hit those on here. Their captain is the Joker, another first-year captain, as we discussed earlier. I didn't really get to see too much of his play. I don't know where exactly he's gonna fit in with his team and how he wants to be that number 1 or that number 2 player or not. He did bring in Immortal Tau, who went undrafted last season, locking him up 1 season, 1 point. I guess it's more of a tryout deal just to get somebody on the roster, because they could drop him for no cap penalty if they need to. It really comes down to if he can be reliable. I think personally, if he's reliable, if he shows up the games, I think that's a steal. 1 point for Immortal Tau, I think it's a steal. But can he be available? That's the big question. And then we have Gree 808 that also signed. He didn't get to play a full season. I believe he got the last 3 weeks of the first season. So this is going to be his first full season in the league. And he went from a backup to signing a decent deal at 7 points. I do question that value.
I haven't seen him play personally, so I can't speak to if the value is decent or not. But if someone's going to be a backup and you're going to pay them starter money,
you see, that's the question. Like, is he good enough? Is he that guy? Because they got 7 points. We saw Chotaro get signed at 7 points. We saw Neko. We even saw Young Bull, as more than likely either the third or the backup, get signed at 7 points. So, like, we've seen that happen. But I don't know if that's the plan here. I think they're gonna try to make him the guy here. I think that's what's gonna happen. And this is gonna move us on to Cryptic, who is captained by Dirty. They currently don't have any free agent signings, so we have to assume that most of their play is going to come from the draft. It's going to be rather interesting to see how they build a full roster if they do decide to go that route through the draft. I don't know if there's enough talent to get 3 starters and 3 good backups out of the draft right now, because it's going to be a war with every other team.
Yeah, they're gonna definitely have to make some headway in free agency.
It's definitely gonna be interesting overall. Like, I look forward to seeing how draft week turns out, to seeing if any trades. We haven't even discussed the possibility of a draft day trade. Like, somebody could really try to force their way up or down in the draft. It could happen. We won't know the order for the first 3 picks until tomorrow, I believe, and we already know the draft order for everybody else. I can actually pull that up. Did you have any thoughts or comments though, Shane, regarding any current free agents? I know RGB Shoddy is still in free agency.
I have my thoughts and opinions, but I prefer to keep those to myself right now, as we are currently pursuing free agents.
Very, very interesting response there. Danger Ranger, you're the franchise owner for RGB. Do you guys have any comments about free agent plans? I know, like I said, RGB Shoddy is still available, and he does have ties to your captain.
Yes, he does. So at the end of the day, our player and captain Ronska has a lot of control over the roster. In regards to cap, that's usually when us over at Eco Gaming have to chime in. But we were looking to re-sign just about anyone and everyone we can, because we like that there's an existing team with synergy. And beyond that, we have our free agents that we're looking at as well.
Very, very interesting. It sounds like there's a small bidding war going on for RGB Shoddy. I know a lot of teams have already asked about his services. It's going to be very, very interesting to see where he goes. I actually haven't heard about him being linked to Onslaught Gaming at all, though, which is very, very interesting. And you guys not have any plans on making a play there?
To be honest, I leave all of everything that has to do with Rocket League up to my captain because he actually plays Rocket League and I do not. So I fully 100% back whatever he decides to do.
That's what you would like to hear from a franchise owner. I'm sure at any time in the future or in a different league, that's going to get you so many captains, is getting that kind of response and that kind of leadership, because that's really why we bring them. Why franchisers are supposed to bring them in here is because they are supposed to be the guys running everything day to day. So that's very nice to hear. So I did want to go into the draft order real quick, guys, before we call this a night. So as I said, the first 3 picks aren't determined yet. They will be determined tomorrow. But picking number 4 will be Valeris. Picking number 5 will be Onslaught Gaming, which definitely gives you guys some good position to make a play there. Essentially, you're picking 2nd overall if you didn't count the 3 new teams. Trachtenberg picks at 6. RGB picks at 7, which I know is a little rough. Danger Ranger with your team just falling short of bringing home a title, and then having to pick that late in the draft. It's almost like a kicking you when you're down.
No. Ronska did all that last season all by himself with a brand new team. All it takes is a second try.
And then
So
the last
the
pick
W
will
is
go
pending.
to Full Senders. The W is pending, is that what you said?
Yep.
As I was saying, though, Full Senders is going to have the last pick. It's going to be also pretty interesting to see what they decide to do with that, just because you have to think most of the first round talent is going to be gone by then. But realistically, it doesn't seem like they're planning to use any prospect talent as starting talent anyway. Bringing Neko and Jotaro and Young Bull back on such big deals, like investing that much into those players, I think it really kind of spells out your plan for them. And then that's actually all we have currently to go over right now. We do have the draft coming up in roughly about 6 days or so. I think we're going to aim to put it on the next Sunday. I'm not 100% sure just yet, so don't quote me. But that's going to be our next biggest event. I think we're going to do a 2-week preseason, essentially, or off-season period, where teams will just get that chance to kind of build some synergy with each other and get to know each other. And then the regular season is going to open up. Hopefully this season we're going to have a official setup for All-Star voting as well. I know we are still planning to host an All-Star game for last season, but the idea is hopefully for season 2 we have an official way for everybody to get a say for who they think should be an All-Star.
I think that the best way to do that would be have each member that has played so many games on the team vote for somebody that is not on their team. And then whoever gets the
I like that a lot. We discussed initially like each team gets 1 vote, but I do like the idea of everybody just gets it, like you can vote for anybody that's not on your team.
Yeah, that I think that's the best way to do something like that, because then whoever gets the most votes technically is the best player on the team.
Yeah, that's good. there's a good chance that's probably the route we're gonna end up going with it. Did you have any input on that, Holt Nova?
I don't know. I think a captain should be able to nominate a player as well. Just sort of like everyone else that's on the team can vote for their own team, but a captain should be able to vote for their own players.
Interesting. Like as I said, we'll definitely do some talking when we all sit down together, and we'll figure out exactly how we want to flesh out the system. But that's actually all we have for the night, guys. So thanks for tuning in and listening. If you guys do go back and watch this over, just make sure you pay attention to all the details that we went over. It's very valuable for some of the captains because we did just overview all of the deal values, so you can kind of gauge what you should and shouldn't be offering for a player just based off of what signings have already been done, at what length, and what cost. So enjoy your night, guys. Great stream. Good talking with everybody.